have you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, viewers. I've just received a text message from Joseph Momo Philip. He says, Aurora Tet, just know I am tuned in from Embu. And as we were preparing to get on set, my dear friend, Mr. Mohammed Somro, he said Pakistan is well tuned.
Oh, good morning.
And he's a very senior traffic command. He majors more on road safety training. Wherever place you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's a beautiful day for most of us. At the same time, it doubles up as the very bad day for some of us. I am somewhere in between the line. It is a good day, it is a bad day, because last week we talked to our viewers. And there is a sad line I mentioned that you reminded me today, that many more are going to go and they're not going to come back. Somebody asked me, are you a prophet of doom? And I told him, no. There is no way you see the clouds gather and go out without an umbrella, then come back later and complain that you have been rained on. There are things that we see on our roads that are fully avoidable. But then you come and realize that the past week there is a segment we mentioned, each and every person has a responsibility. And then you asked me about the government. So today I will talk about the institutions' mandated authority towards the disasters we have seen. You mentioned 2018, 2019, 2020, and now 2021. In 2019, on the 6th of December, today is the 6th.
Today is the 6th, yeah.
46 people died, same river. Then now you start to ask yourself, what is it? Why are we not learning something? I want to start with the mandated authorities before I come back to driving in the rain and the personal responsibility that we have. If you have been to this river, Ukambani tends to be a dry season for a dry land for so long. So most of these roads are actually on the riverbed because the water comes once in a while. So the roads are just on the riverbeds. Then the roads are also on the waterways. There is something engineers know. A waterway is a waterway, regardless of what you want to construct on it. And there is one thing you can never estimate: the destructive force of Mother Nature. You cannot say that it always comes 4 millimeters high. So we want to build a structure that can withstand an earthquake. We miss it. There it is where we miss it. So they are trying to bring in structures. Oh, Mara, it's a bridge they want to build. It is built below standard. Then, each year, scientists say because of global warming, the levels of water are rising. So if we built it in 2014 for low water, then now in 2021, the water force must outdo the structure. It must outdo the structure. Makaburi, just on the newly constructive place here, the expressway. It just rained one night. There was flood all over. Why? Because it is built right at the waterway. There is something you can never control. It's moving water. Don't be lied to. You cannot control it. And the force at which it comes with keeps on changing. The globe is becoming warmer, so we are getting more water. We are even seeing floods sometimes in Turkana. We even wonder, how does this happen? These are drought-stricken areas. So there is a fail at the approach which our engineers are approaching it with. 2, the project is here. The contractor, when they want to give, you know, I am the governor, so I have a relative who knows somebody who has tractors, the equipment we can hire. Then we have the machinery, but we don't have the expertise. Why are we seeing a lot of road carnages? Because our roads are more crowded than they were in the 1990s. Growing up, when you wanted to go to Kisumu from Siaya, you had to keep time, because when that bus leaves you, the Nyayo bus used to leave Siaya town at exactly 1 p.m. for Nakuru. If you come at 1:15, you wait until the next day. But nowadays, you come at 1:15, 2:11, so many vehicles. Our driving schools are not so many, but they have a lot of students, so we have less resources. We have less trainers. Facilities that are there are now not education-based. They are profit margin-based.
All right.
So you realize that the things we have been speaking here gives the people the wow factor. But these are basic things that should be. I was telling Peter Kamwaro yesterday as we were having a talk.
Yes.
He said the show is doing very good, and I'm telling him, Kamwaro, it's just been general talk. We've not started the lessons. So if it is a wow factor for you right now when we are still just having general talk, how much wow will it be for you when we now decide on this segment it is purely side mirrors? You still find people driving in town with closed side mirrors. They've driven for 20 kilometers, and yeah, they are in town. They tell you how good drivers they are.
Experienced.
We see people bringing in pocket mirrors to try and see.
Absolutely.
Not knowing that that mirror is plain, while our side mirrors are convex lenses. And there is a reason as to why. So viewers, a lot needs to be done, but first we want to go into driving in the rain.
Yeah, and the reason why I think I need to make this clear is driving in the rain has been, there's been a lot of heavy downpour. And I remember I was reading traffic updates and talking about be vigilant, it's a bit foggy, it's misty, and then suddenly we saw floods and we started losing lives to these particular floods on the roads. So we are really intentional about this topic today, and we hope that each viewer takes notes. It's not just one of those shows, it is actually meant to make sense so that we don't have any more headlines with people, losing their lives on these roads due to floods. So please, wake up your family members and talk to me at Look Up TV. If you're concerned about your type of car or, the hydroplaning ideas, just ask Mr. Worotet on set today, and I will ask that question directly to the expert on set. So just to welcome you, of course, to the hashtag The Morning Drift. Mr. Tet, welcome back on set. I had to make that clear. Karibu.
Road safety is a message of love, and only those who love you share this with you.
All right.
Anki loves you, and that is why she has made it clear that today the show is specifically for you to learn how to drive in the rain. So there is something we call the pre-trip inspection.
All right.
It is a rainy season. When I left home, there was no rain, but when I reached Donholm area, there was slight rain, then it disappeared, and then when I was coming to Kilimani, now again there was rain. So one, rain comes to people as a surprise. That is why you see people running along the streets. They are looking for umbrellas all over, and at that time, if they're told it's 1,000 bob, they will buy. Because it comes as a surprise. The meteorological department will tell you we expect. But the moment the downpour touches the ground, it catches you as a surprise. So, if you are a rider, if you are a cyclist, if you are a pedestrian, if you are a driver, there is something we call the pre-trip inspection. This is majorly going to riders, cyclists, and drivers.
All right.
But pedestrians normalize social media for information. Normalize going to social media for information. Like, what has the meteorological department said? If you ask people today, they don't know. Each and every phone, Android, whichever, if you go, it has a section just slightly below time that gives you a weather forecast. I know somebody is going to check right now. Yeah, you're going to find it. It's there. It tells you the changes. Nowadays, it's more advanced. It gives about 15 minutes. So at 15 minutes, it gives you sunshine. At 15 minutes, it's cloudy, and then you see some. There is a phone that I saw a friend of mine has. When you look at it, you see downpour on the wallpaper. All right. The forecast comes. Then at some point, you see it's shiny. So that is how the forecast it is. But how many of us are even aware of that? We only want to go to WhatsApp, we only want to go to Twitter, we only want to check the memes that are around. Yes. But then we leave the vital parts that really saves us. So pedestrians, if you're leaving home, normalize carrying umbrellas. Because the moment you are running in the street to go and buy an umbrella to shield yourself from the rain, you are exposing yourself as an hazard, because there is a rider also running, there's a driver also driving fast. And that is the moment when it all goes bad. So for drivers, check your wiper blades. Before you leave in the morning, just pull it, make sure you rub your hand and feel it. All right. If it is smooth, if it is rough, it needs to be changed. If it is smooth, good. 2, cyclists, motorcyclists and drivers, make sure you check your vehicle tires, your equipment tires, your machine tires, your bicycle tires. It is no harm to just even feel the grip. For motorcycle riders and vehicle drivers, take a coin, a 1 shilling coin, a 10 shilling coin, dip it in and check the thread. If it is below half that coin, please, you need to change your tires. You need to start thinking of changing your tires. But we see some tires are so smooth. They're so smooth. They have no friction at all. Check on your rain controls if you're in a car. What are your rain controls? The wiper. All right. It has different speeds or intervals. So there is one that just wipes, comes back, and rests. And then there is a more increased, and then there is a fast part of it. Check that the intervals are all okay. There is a time when the first two are okay, but when you put on the third one, the vehicle shorts. All right. It shorts. Actually, yesterday I was checking my indicators, and I found half of it is filled with water. It's been a rainy season. So these are things you have to literally check. Ensure your controls are okay. If you are in the car, ensure your AC is functioning. And if you don't have an AC in the car, what are the other alternatives? Yes. You have to have someone in the car who will help you to wipe the windows from inside, because the vehicle becomes humid. When the wiper runs, it creates some warmth, and then at the vent, there is some heat from the engine that comes, and the windscreen becomes misty. You, as a driver, you are not allowed to wipe it alone. You have to have someone, because, okay, you don't have AC. The model I have does not have AC. So I always have an extra plan for that. Check and ensure your defrost controls are top-notch.
What are these defrost controls?
Probably you are in a small car.
Yes.
And it does not have a wiper.
Okay.
If you check on all Mercedes-Benzes, we never have wipers behind. But our rear shields have some lines. So you just switch it on, and there is a mechanism that makes it happen. So it defrosts. There's a way it pulls that water to that line and then it's taken to the side. It makes your rear shield more clearer, so you don't have the droplets of water. Ensure your fog lights are functional, especially during the day. Why do somebody said, no, your headlights. I want to be very clear. Headlights means full lights. Never use full lights in the rain, because rain is droplets of water. And if you put a pencil in a cup, you always see like it's broken, it's refracted. The same happens to the ray that you give. So probably you're on full lights, and then it refracts and causes glare to other people, so you are hurting their eyes. So make sure your fog lights are okay. Actually, the vehicles in Kenya, now you cannot import a car if it doesn't have fog lights. It's now a standard thing. Most of us will complain, oh, you know, the one I have is old, it does not have fog lights. Use your lower beams. And the lower beams are nowadays adjustable. Use them and adjust them towards the ground so that they don't cause glare. Actually, when you put on fog lights, you are not putting fog lights to see. You are putting on fog lights to be seen. The same way I put on a reflective jacket to be seen. So these are just the pre-trip inspection that one has to do. The final one, ensure your tail lights are fully functional. Tail lights for motorbikes, tail lights for vehicles. And nowadays we have trained our cyclists. They have that flashlight under the saddle.
Yes, yes.
It must be functional, whether it is green, whether it is whichever color. But for vehicles, it is red. Make sure it is functional.
All right. Now, we have spoken about the pre...
This is the pre-trip.
Is that the last one?
Yes, that is
because
the last
I
one
am seeing people here on Twitter as we continue. Just read your feedback real quick. Edgar Nyahururu is saying, Nyahururu tuned, freezing, morning, raining. So I think he's trying to say it's very cold in Nyahururu. Thank you very much. Hashtag the morning drift, Edgar. And of course, Joseph Mumo Philip says, hashtag the morning drift, tuned and following live from Embu. The rest of you who are still sending in your feedback, I am still sampling in, of course, also on Facebook. Allow me to pick one more on Facebook. And people are really following. So it's very important to, of course, bring these updates back up to speed. We have Musando Caputo saying, good morning, madam. Good morning. Wamuyu Kariuki says, good morning, team. Good morning. Walter Young says, you're a wise man. And of course, Mohammed Somro, you mentioned him, says, dear host and Mr. Otet, good morning. Thanks for the Road Safety Morning Show. It's first time in history that someone is on airing road safety show on TV. It was my wish to see this type of road safety shows on TV, so you fulfill my dream. Thank you very much, sir.
From Pakistan. Eh?
Yes, he is from Pakistan. So Pakistan is watching. Good morning, and thank you very much, Mohammed, for taking your time to actually send us that feedback. We'll read more feedback as we continue. Remember, we are live on Facebook, Look Up TV. However, let's go now to the scenario where we just want to touch on it, and I don't know if you had plans to, of course, touch on it as well. Kenyans are asking themselves, if we don't have a choice, like this incident we are looking at that is very disheartening right now on the headlines is, they say one of the survivors, which is actually one out of the 20, said they told the driver to hurry up because they were getting late. And clearly there was no alternative route, was there?
There wasn't.
So what happens in that kind of situation? You just want to touch on these specific scenarios and what the calculations should be, for the drivers.
Last week, we went into responsibilities of each category.
Yes.
And I made this example, and I said, when somebody is going to have surgery, they have a team of 15 people trying to save one life. But then, when it comes to vehicles, the driver is mandated to save all. Today, we are at 33 lives. So, on this one, the driver failed because he risked all the lives. Luckily, one survived.
Yes.
And it was out she's a lady, it was out of her personal effort and responsibility to fight for life. The driver stopped the bus. And for about 2 hours, they were out singing. We have seen the video. They were singing. Then they tell the driver, other vehicles have crossed. But these are lorries that have tonnage.
Yeah, there was a lorry ahead, yes.
2 lorries that had a lot of tons in them. Crossed. And then I think there is a small van that also crossed. And then the driver was challenged and put to task. And then he says, this vehicle has no weight. Fail number one, the buses we see are not buses. They are buses built on lorry chassis.
Okay.
If we have a normal bus chassis, it would have withstood a certain, because the center of gravity. So this one, it has no weight. What does a lorry chassis do? It operates in 2 center of gravities. When loaded, it is a bit lower. When it is not loaded to the maximum weight, it is higher. It is easily tossable.
All right.
It is easily tossable. Then the driver convinces these people, you want us to go on the other side because we are getting late. Then I need more weight. Human carnal mind, eh? You need more weight. How much does a ship weigh, yet they float on the water? And now this is a small matchbox. And then, exceptional safety violation. I said if you make it to the other side, you are a hero. If you don't, it becomes fatal. 33 people didn't even say goodbye to their own people. Must you drive in the rain? No. If it is compromising your visibility, stop. I am on record for saying, you want to stop a crash? Stop before it happens. Anki is crossing the road. I want to avoid hitting you. I stop before I reach to you. The guy had stopped and switched off the bus. Let us say they wanted to beat him up, just a scenario. And he says, I'm not driving that bus. Who would have taken the key to drive that bus? Peer pressure is bad. Let those who want to risk, risk. I realize, may they rest in peace, but I've seen a lot of videos of people trying to cross the river. And then you realize they don't know, they didn't see, and they didn't think. Yet the people who have given this responsibility to think, to see, and know, lack this knowledge.
All right.
So the question, viewers, must you drive in the rain? No. There are at some point the downpour is too much, I park the. We are a generation, I call it a quick fix. We want to leave late, we want to reach early before time. You're already late. So in journey planning management,
Yes.
there are alternatives.
Okay.
We are going to Mombasa, and we are using Narok, and then we find Bridge Suswa has been washed off. What do? We go for another alternative route. And when there is no alternative route, our poor planning comes into play. I want to go to Kisumu. I have a function on Thursday. What is the harm if I leave on Tuesday? What is the harm if I leave on Wednesday? Normally, the people around me know. We leave a day early. Gaddafi will tell you, every day we are fighting with him. He's a truck driver in one of my students. So if he's to get to Mombasa by noon, I tell him, Gaddafi, there is no harm. Leave at 9 p.m. You have all the night, you have all the morning. So he drives at his pace. Nowadays, he's getting used to it. And he appreciates the part of journey planning management.
All right.
If you must drive in the rain, double check your equipment. Do the pre-trip that I gave 2 times. Be certain that you understand your vehicle well. Be certain that you are firm and accountable for the decisions you are going to make. If you have to drive in the rain, every time it rains, everything changes. Everything changes.
And you mean everything?
Even your reasoning, even your ability to see, it changes. If it rains right now, you won't see me remove this. You'll see me put on more to keep warm. What does warmth do to the body? It charges you. It makes you cozy. It helps you achieve the biological clock. It makes you tired more.
All right.
Everything has to change from your speed. It is raining on the southern bypass as I go home. Guys are hitting 120, 140. And they're in the inner lane, they're on the outer lane. It is a sudden swerve. People are just crazy.
They're trying to beat time? Probably.
We all have 24 hours in a day.
Okay.
You beating time does not help you get 28 hours in a day. Once you leave late, Anki, you're always late. You just have to accept that fact. When you're beating time, how many lives are you risking on the road? When it rains, speed reduces.
All right.
We slow down. When it rains, people struggle to see. The tunnel of vision is limited. So we tend to, you see, if you're traveling when it's raining, you hear a lot of brakes. So at some point, unasikia abiria wanakanyaga brakes zao because they are now not sure if you are the driver they know.
Oh, yes,
because they are realizing you are lacking in some awareness.
All right.
The passengers I carry when it rains, they even sleep. Because if it is written 110, I will keep to the left lane and do my 60. And do my 60. Visibility is an issue. And that is why at some, when it's raining, the vehicle in front of you is always on brake lights. Unashindwa, kwani barabara wameweka bumps mpya, and you don't even meet a bump. Everything changes. Even the mindset has to change. You should increase your following distances. If you always give 1 car length, put it to 3. Because you will step on your brakes, the vehicle will stop, and it will still hydroplane. It will still slide on top of the road, and it will reach the other people more. Must you drive in the rain? Yes. Ensure your fog lights are on for visibility purposes. You have to be seen. You have to be seen. There are clips I have seen.
Yes.
People are driving in the rain, and the guy has to wipe. He has to come.
From the outside?
Yeah, he has to come and wipe because they cannot be able to do it. Must you drive in the rain? No, you have to park. Ensure safe distances. Avoid heavy braking. Because when you step on that brake, the wheel locks. Huh?
Okay.
And then this is what happens on the surface of the road. There is always water.
Yes.
So when the vehicle locks, it slides, and then it accumulates more water, so it lifts you higher. The worst part when it rains that every viewer has to know is this. When it is dry, the fumes from the exhaust, which is oil, settles on the road.
All right.
So the first few drops of the rain, water and
oil?
will never mix. So one has to be on top of the other. So you have 2 layers.
And that's the oil.
However minimal there are, you have 2 layers. So the worst part when it begins to rain is the few drops. That is the moment people skid like no other. We have very few drivers in this country, less than 2,000, who also might not understand that vital basic foundation that the worst part is when the few droplets begin. So when it becomes more, it is washed away. But when it is washed away, it opens the door to what we call buoyancy, the ability of objects to now float on top of water. That is one vital mistake we are seeing with these vehicles, that they are impatient, the drivers, they want to cross. By the way, let me tell you, if they cross safely,
Yes.
they are heroes. You like it or not.
And I know you're talking about the motorists and what they ought to do, and I really appreciate that we've talked about the checking and their responsibility. But I'm seeing some feedback on Facebook, if you allow me, sir.
Please.
Blessed Dan has just woken up. Today is a bit late. Good morning. He's saying, road safety is a message of love, and those who love it will share it widely. Thank you for echoing that. Thank you very much. And remember, this is a message of love. Hashtag the morning drift. Now, Stephen Thiru says, kindly remind the government to do proper markings of the roads. We drive estimating everything. All right? That is from Stephen. He says, we as drivers, as you have said, it's about the brain. So they are not sure if they should be driving or estimating everything. I'm sure Mr. Tet will touch on that. Edwin Kipkirui says, very educative segment, Mr. Worotet, on driving in the rain. I saw a feedback here that I felt we should actually touch on. Wamuyu Karaoke, good morning, ma'am. It's good to actually see you on our feedback platform. And she says, before you end, remind the authorities again about the potholes that are all over, that are now all over. Poor repair work that is washed off by 2 days' rain. They have increased accidents and also slows traffic. Well, keep sending in your feedback at Look Up TV. We're about to wrap up, but remember, it's very, very important to at least grasp something. So if you're just waking up still, we want to now look at the government, you know, because we're seeing that the bridges, they are constructed, like you mentioned, the engineers, and now it's about profit. But now we're asking, this far, what can be done? It's already done. We've lost lives very sadly. But what is the way forward? Because we cannot halt the rains, can we? It is beyond us. But what can we do on these roads when they flood, besides parking? Because you might park again and it sweeps you. What if you're already in? What if you're already there? You're already in. You underestimated the power of the floods. What can the driver do to save the situation, or is it really nothing that can be done? Maybe we need to touch on a few of those.
What the driver really needs to do is never underestimate the power of moving water or stagnant water. Never, ever. If you're a pedestrian and you want to cross, if that water is reaching your knee, please don't. If you do, leave us. If you're a man, if you want to do that, leave us with your wife's number. If you're a woman, you want to do that, leave us with your husband's number. The vehicle has a tire. If the water touches on the rim, stop.
All right, okay.
Just get out of there. Do whatever necessary to get out of there. Someone has touched on potholes.
Yes.
When it rains, human beings, we are not aquatic beings. We cannot see under the water. So avoid water puddles. It looks like a small hole, but the moment you go in is when you find out what is inside there. It is better not to find out, because that when you find out it's a broken rim, it's a broken suspension, it's a broken spring, it's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you a lot. Do not underestimate power of moving water. Never, ever. You want to play with water? Play with that one in the basin. That one I allow you, or the one in the cup. That one I will allow you. But then, Mother Nature force. Avoid, 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 avoid. On the part of infrastructure,
Yes.
it is now not a plea.
All right.
Some of us are now disseminating this information, and people are becoming more aware. And that is why Salabs is out there telling us that it is possible. Don't tell us it's not possible to have safe cycling lanes in Nairobi. We have seen good engineering that has saved lives. Infrastructure needs to be brought up so that even if we are going to build something on a waterway, we have controlled drainage. Drainage that we can control that water. However much the river will burst their banks,
Yes.
the water can still be controlled. But look, we are in this era when politicians come, like I saw Charity Ngilu, I saw what Mr. Kalonzo Musyoka said, they are now going to talk with President Uhuru so that that bridge would be built. Money was dispensed in 2014. Since 2014, what have they done? People are now using this as a chance. This is a political season. So people are going to use this chance to lie again to us. But you see, for them, they fly home. It is us who walk home. It is us who face the dangers. If the engineers who have been in play can be arrested, taken to court to face justice, then we can have rethoughts. But again, you see, road safety is something that has not been there. You hear from Pakistan, they are saying the one of its own kind. So it's like all the doors of awareness have been closed. We don't even know what to demand for. We don't even know what to demand for. Many are the days we see on news, people are planting bananas on the road because the state of the road is bad. Then after it appears on media, nobody goes further.
All right.
A lot of media houses reported the bus incident. But the morning drift has allowed us to have an in-depth understanding. And this is what is needed. It has happened.
Yes.
It will happen because 2014 it happened, 2015 it happened, 2016 it happened, 17,
18,
2019, 6th, like today, 42 lives, it happened.
Yes.
2020, it happened. Now 2021, it has happened. Is it something that must really happen? No. What are we going to do differently? We create more awareness. Now there is someone who is seated and knows if the water touches on your rim, don't. If it is reaching your knee level, don't. There is someone who is now shocked because it always finds them as a surprise. But now they know if it might rain, they have to check on their blades. There is someone who is learning that it is not a must to drive in rain.
Yes.
Somebody is in spectacles, and they are short-sighted.
Yes.
They want to see so far in the rain.
You don't have to.
Just wait.
All right.
I'd rather you come and wait for 20 minutes. Then you reach home safe. Give back the peremende you brought for your baby. See the people you told I will see you in the evening. You know, in that bus tragedy, there are 15 people from one family.
Yes.
And then there is a mother and 3 kids. The worst injury is not for the dead. It is for the people who are left behind. The trauma and the stigma. They will even blame the family of the driver. But then the family of the driver was not even there. It is the worst and the saddest we can ever have.
Yes.
This is very much avoidable in the near future. Thank you.
And I want to reiterate what you have said. You don't have to. If you're having, visual impairment, or you're struggling with your sight, try and look at the weather forecast. Something else that I've picked up is you have access to, knowing what exactly is happening on the weather forecast that day. At least do not use your brain like one of our, feedback has read. He has said we as drivers are trying to estimate everything. Perhaps you do not have to go that far. If it is raining, you obviously just need to, take a breather and wait. And drivers need to learn some values like patience. from what I'm hearing, and get concerned about what if something happens, the people you're leaving behind would hurt more. Mr. Ted, thank you so much for your time. I know we're wrapping up. Yumbia Mwema said, sad truth is the rains are here, a disaster has happened, and little or nothing will be done about it. 33 lives are lost. It was tragic, but avoidable, of course. And politicians will use choppers to go bereave with their lost families. They won't use the roads and the poor infrastructure. Sounds like some bitter truth. Mr. Mohammed Somro again says, dear staff at Look Up TV, I'm watching from Pakistan. Thank you, sir. I can see here someone, of course, we read that about talking about the authorities and to the authorities. And tomorrow we are hosting one of representatives, or I will give you later on their titles from the NTSA. So if you have questions.
Program manager for road safety.
The program manager for road safety. So you have questions and you want to ask the authorities, we'll of course be discussing issues with him on set tomorrow. So just in case you've been wondering, when do you actually bring the authorities on set? Tomorrow is the day. But for today, we really hope that this does have an impact on our viewership today and on the roads, that you don't have to drive in the rain. And your closing remarks, sir.
If you drive in the rain, if you are going to cross raging waters, many more are going to die. And at that point, there's nothing much I can do. I'll only be able to save myself, because for me, I will stop. As we told you, the segment is normally short, opening another door for tomorrow. As you have heard, tomorrow we have somebody from a representative from the NTSA. Invite a friend to invite a friend, because what we give, you get nowhere else. Never, ever miss. Bye-bye for today.
All right, and I will say bye-bye after I read this. Akola Stewart says, wise man over said, may God keep increasing you from your knowledge. I believe I'm a competent defensive driver. Remember, we also talk about defensive driving, but at least we have one.
All glory goes to God.
Oh, okay, there you go. All glory
I'm
goes
just a
back.
slave to help them see through.
Thank you, sir. And as we close, Controller WB, good conversation there, Mr. Otet. Hashtag the morning drift. We're just getting started. We wanted to make sure that you know how the roads look like, because we always have our eyes on the roads for you. And besides that, we also analyze in depth, of course, just to make sure you have the tips, because if this happens, what should I not do? What then should I do to be an efficient driver? And remember, this is not just about you. It's an entire community. It's the people you love. So like we're saying, this is a message of love. Until tomorrow, on this same set, we talk to someone in authority and hear your feedback and have a conversation with you back at home. So for now, allow me to cross over to the next segment. I'll take a short breather. The big conversation is very, very important and timely. My name is Anki. Let's talk more.